What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday evening to you. I am your host, Joey Petersen. You're watching the Ravens Rundown, and we are live on YouTube. Got about an hour of amazing Ravens coverage to give you. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. We really do appreciate it. We got a lot of great things to talk about on the show, okay? We got some great news from the Green Bay Packers. Then we're going to dip a little bit back into the NFL draft. Talk a little bit mock draft 2.0. Okay, I got a full 7-round mock draft for you guys. Then we're going to wrap it up like we always do right here on the channel with a live mailbag. You ask the questions, I give the answers. Your turn to get on your favorite YouTube show is coming up very, very shortly. Before we get into any of the content, though, I want to hear from you guys. I put this out as a community post today. Been going through this. Actually, might have been yesterday I put this out as a community post, but been going through the answers and want to see if you guys can give it to me in the chat down below. What is your favorite Ravens memory? Let me know in the comments. I was thinking when I asked this to you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and give my one for this last year, make it a little bit easier on myself. This past year, I think the entirety of that first Bengals game was unreal. That was like a blast. I think namely the Lamar Jackson scramble, stiff arm Trey Hendrickson twice, throw it out of bounds, like while he's going out of bounds, Isaiah Likely touchdown catch, that was insane. The Evan McPherson missed field goal kick to then give the Ravens the ball back, and then Henry breaks off the 80-yard run. That was insane. A lot of really great moments from this past season, but I want to hear yours. From your entirety of being a Baltimore Ravens fan, what is your favorite memory? We got a ton of people in the chat already. We got Yikaw here. He also sent in a $2 super chat. We'll get that on screen. What's going on, my man? Saying, hey, JP, came back from Tokyo. I miss it already. Yikaw, hope you had a blast. How long were you able to be there, and what was your favorite thing that you did? Let me know in the comments down below. But hey, happy you're back stateside. Happy you're back in Texas. The Lone Star State welcomes you. If you guys want to get on the channel just like Yekaw did, it can take just a super chat, no matter how much, and we'll get you up on screen. And if you guys want to be in today's mailbag, use hashtag Ravens in the comment section, just like our man Yekaw did. Said hashtag Ravens. I read an article on the Ravens app suggesting to draft James Pierce Jr. I know you're a Vols fan. Would he fit the scheme? Would he be available once Baltimore's on the clock? Yekaw, we'll make sure that one's in the mailbag because I think it's a fantastic question. Give you a short little answer. Yes, I think that he will be available. And yes, I also think that he would be an amazing skill fit. And so, great question, though. Really do appreciate it. So if you guys want to be in that mailbag, just like Yekaw is going to, ask me a question. Use hashtag Ravens, and we'll make sure that it gets in. That is. Yeah, those all look great. Yeah, just scoot that one down a little bit. Also, a little bit of a reminder, we'll be raffling off the bank when we are live in just about 2 months, a little less than 2 months. Actually, it's Thursday, so that means 8 weeks exactly from now. We'll be live for the NFL draft. And we'll be raffling off our bank then. So if you want to get in it, only a $10 super chat to enter it, and you'll get your chance to win this puppy. We'll be sending out to a fan. We got over 70 Ravens rundowns, watchers, listeners, donators, all in there. And actually, change that to a fifth if you don't mind. You can just do that in the yeah. That doesn't matter. Thank you. So yeah, if you guys want to get in this and get a chance to win this. We got all the real ones in here. If you want to be a real one, $10 super chat gets you in the bank. Also, Yekaw said, I was there for a week. My favorite parts were the Skytree Tower and the malls and the food. Okay, Skytree Tower. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look it up. Yeah, that looks good, Tex. Skytree. Oh, the massive. Isn't that like the tallest tower in the world? I'm pretty sure it is. It's one of them. Yep, yeah, Factor Podcast. Yeah, for sure. Okay, it's not the one I was thinking of, but it's still up there, man. That's awesome. I bet that was really, really cool. Food sounds awesome. Are you a sushi guy? I'm assuming because you said the food, that means you are a sushi guy. But just let me know. I would love to go and crush some sushi from Japan. Kennedy and I talked last night about Wednesdays doing $5 sushi at Kroger because they've got a nice little $5 sushi deal. Not the same as sushi from Japan, but you catch my drift. You get what I'm talking about. Would be pretty sweet to do as well. Let's get back to the comment section. Ravens King saying, #Ravens. I don't think we should trade for Jaire Alexander because of him always being hurt and never being available. We'll actually talk about that in our first segment. Ravens King, we will, but that's a great question for the mailbag. I guess great statement for the mailbag. We'll talk about that. We'll make sure you are on that mailbag segment. I love the differing opinions. You know, some people think we should, some people think we shouldn't. And I am one of those who I think that they should, solely because I think you are always with Lamar Jackson kind of in like, I don't want to say win now mode, but you always have the ability to win a Super Bowl. And so I would do it. And Yikos said, TBH, I'm not a sushi guy, but Japanese barbecue is delicious. That does sound delicious. All right, here's the lineup we got for you today. Starting off with some great news from the Green Bay Packers, then going to our mock draft 2.0. Okay, my second mock draft of the 2024 NFL, or 2025, NFL offseason, and then we're going to wrap it all up with a live Ravens mailbag. Going to be a great show. Make sure you're in. Make sure you like today's show. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, make sure to share this with your friends. Let them know what we're doing here, and make sure they're gonna want to come and hang out with us because we got a good time ahead of us. All right, Tex, are we ready for segment number 1? Let's do it, man. Let's do it. All righty. On all 3, actually. Sorry, I forgot to. Did I not put it in that last one? I did, yeah. All 3 of them. Sweet. All righty, we're going to hit you with the first show coming at you right now. If this is your first time watching the show, first off, welcome in. My name's Joey Petersen. We do this daily. We only talk about the Baltimore Ravens. You found the perfect place, but I want to hear from you, okay? Type me if this is your first time ever watching, and also let me know what your favorite Ravens memory is. If you already have watched before, this is your second, third, 700th time, I don't care. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite Ravens memory is. Welcome in, everybody. On today's show, we are going to be talking about some great news the Baltimore Ravens got from the Green Bay Packers, and that is the fact that they are open to trading cornerback Jaire Alexander. Ian Rapoport broke the news on Wednesday morning from the NFL Scouting Combine, saying sources, the #Packers, have had trade conversations centered around star cornerback Jaire Alexander, and they're open to moving him for the right price. And my initial reaction on this news is go get him, okay? That's my initial thoughts, because you look at this situation that Baltimore is in right now, with the quarterback that they have, with the running back that they have, with the way that this team is built right now, they could win a Super Bowl at any moment, okay? And you don't want to waste precious prime years of Lamar Jackson by not going out and being aggressive in free agency and in trades. And so my initial reaction is say, okay, go get him. It wouldn't be that expensive. Go do whatever you can. But then, as you always have to do in these kind of trade rumor situations, you have to think about the money. And when you trade for a guy like Jaire Alexander, it comes with a little bit of a price tag with him, okay? If you trade for him before the March 15th date, so that would be around 3 days after NFL free agency opens, it'd be a $16.15 million cap hit. That's the money that you'd owe him. That's the money he'd count against your cap space. If you do it post 3/15, so after March 15th, it goes up even more, and it's a $25.5 million cap hit. Now let's look at the money from Green Bay's side. Their savings if he's cut or if he's traded, okay? If he's cut or traded prior to 6-1, they would save $6.84 million, and then in 2026, it'd be $17.14 million. If they wait and do it after 6-1, cut him after 6-1, they would save $17.08 million, and they would also save $19.50 million in 2026. And because of that, the $11 million difference in savings, I feel like he might just get cut after that June 1st date. Okay, I think he's going to be a post-6-1 cut designation because they'd save over $11 million than if they would cut or trade him before 6-1. Okay, and I think that amount of savings is worth a lot. And also, I think it's going to be hard to find a ton of teams that are willing to trade up an asset and then also take on that contract for a player who's only played in, 7 games in the last 2 seasons? And so I kind of might be under the impression that I want Baltimore to just wait it out, see if he's cut. And if you're feeling and if you're hearing like a lot of teams are interested in going to trade for him, then get in those trade discussions. That's what I think in my opinion. But you do something for me. That's be the GM. Be Eric DaCosta. What would you do with Jaire Alexander? Type T for trade. Give me a W for wait. Want to hear what you guys would do if you were in that situation. Would you trade for him or would you be patient and wait for him to see if he gets cut? Let me know in the comments down below. When you look at this cornerback depth chart, it's an interesting situation going into 2025 because you got 2 guys in Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins that you're very confident in, and I think that you should be. And outside of that, there's not a lot. And that's even adding to the fact that Brandon Stevens, Trey White, Jalen Armour-Davis, Trayvon Mullen, all of those guys are set to be unrestricted free agents on that March 11th date, okay? But thinking of those guys being out of there, Brandon Stevens, namely, it feels like Jaire Alexander would just slide right in and fit perfectly with this Ravens secondary, okay? The type of player that he is when healthy, the types of plays that he makes when healthy are the exact plays, in my opinion, Baltimore was missing this season, especially on the front half, okay? And I know it's been a while since he's been healthy, but we're only a couple years removed from that 2022 season when he was an absolute monster, right? That contract season for him, 56 tackles, 4 of those for loss, 14 pass breakups, and 5 interceptions. And the great thing about it is we already know that Lamar Jackson's on board because of the time they spent together in college, okay? They were college teammates at the University of Louisville. They already had practiced against each other during the training camp period a couple years ago. They talk about how much they mean to each other. They talk about how great it is to seeing them both do so great. They have a relationship. I think Lamar could be and will get on board with this very, very quickly, okay? I personally would rather trade for Jaire than sit on my hands, wait if he gets cut, and miss out on him, okay? I think that you could win a Super Bowl this next year, even without him. But for the opportunity to add him to this roster, it's worth it to me to just give him a 5th-round pick and possibly then renegotiate that contract, okay? And even if you are taking on the $16 million, that's a lot, but it's like, for a guy who's going to be fully healthy going into 2025, who's 2 years removed from a Pro Bowl season, it's worth it, okay? Coming up, I got some concerns with Jaire Alexander that we've got to dive into, okay? Because it's not all just roses, unicorns, butterflies. But you know what is roses, unicorns, and butterflies? It's our friends over at Factor. I could not think of a better sponsor for today's video because I promise you, you guys are going to want to take advantage of this deal. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes so you can fuel up and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active or busy lifestyle. You can lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. And the great thing I love about Factor is the food tastes so good, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, you're looking at that Peruvian-style chicken on the right side of your screen. And I'm somebody who likes to try a lot of different foods. That sounded really good to me, but you're also thinking, there's no way. It's just heat and eat. It can't taste that great. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it does. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FactorPodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FactorPodcast at factormeals.com/FactorPodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. The link to this promo will be in the comments and description of today's video, so go check out our friends at Factor right now. And I got to tell you this because we are getting to the tail end, the final day of our February sub battle with Steelers talk. We've been going at it all month long, I guess, and we're only 12 subs behind, okay? Let's finish out this month strong. Let's do it for me because I'm the one who has to deal with our Steelers talk hosts if we don't beat them. 12 subs, that's all we got to make up. It is in your hands. I need you guys to help me out. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. We give you daily news, rumors, anything else you could want surrounding the Baltimore Ravens. So if you haven't yet, subscribe right now. So the thing about Jaire Alexander and the concern I have with Jaire Alexander and trading for him, giving up assets and paying him that contract, is he just hasn't been able to see the field. Okay, it's plain and simple in that fact as well, okay? 4 games played in 2021, played all 16 in 2022. You saw the season that he had. But then 2023, 2024, 7 games each. So in one of his last 4 seasons, he's played more than 8 games. Okay, he's just not there. But still, with all those things added to it, I think it's more than worth it. Okay, because of how this team is set up, because this team could go out and win a Super Bowl tomorrow. Okay, how frustrated were all of us the entirety of this season, even when the secondary started playing better? How frustrated were we with the play of Brandon Stephens, with the plays that he was letting up, okay? With the things that wide receivers were doing to him. You put Jaire Alexander in that spot healthy, that's not happening, okay? And this also can give you a new draft focus, okay? In my opinion, you definitely go pass rusher first round, right? You do that round 1. Then in the second or third round, you either go wide receiver or safety, okay? You kind of mix match those in my opinion. And then the 4th and 5th round, you go defensive tackle or offensive line, okay? And so there's so many benefits to this, okay? Because this cornerback class, it's really top heavy, but after you get past that 1st and 2nd round, there's not a ton of talent. And I would rather trade for Jaire Alexander, focus on pass rushers in this draft because I think there's a lot of really great gets deep into the draft. And when you look at the picks, they've got a lot of them, okay? They really do. So trading away a 4th, a 5th, or a 6th rounder for Jaire Alexander, it really doesn't even make a dent because they've got 11. I can't even put all of them on the screen right now. Because you got one around 7 as well. They got 3 6th rounders, 2 5th rounders, 2 4th rounders, a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd. And you really wouldn't have to trade that much to get them either, okay? It'd be around a 5th round pick. I know it's because it's a lot of name value that you probably think it'd be a little bit higher, like a 2nd and next year 6 or something like that. I really think Green Bay would do a 5th because they get to save some money and they get something back, okay? And so let me know. Would you accept this trade if you were Eric DeCosta, if you were Steve Bisciotti, and you were presented with Jaire Alexander for a 5th rounder? Would you do it? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Now, if you do it, and heading up to doing it, there are some things to figure out, okay? Because the Ravens right now, they sit at $8.9 million in cap space. Not a lot. Actually, this was scripted out before the new salary cap became apparent and became official. That's actually going to be $12.2 million in cap space. Still not a lot. However, DaCosta on Tuesday said he was optimistic in a Stanley deal. Stanley's projected to get somewhere around $20 million, okay? And Alexander's owed $16.5 million in 2025. So just those two players, if you add them together, that'd be around $37 million. You're sitting with $12 million right now. So there are some things that aren't adding up, right? Somewhere the wires are getting crossed. But we've already talked about there's a lot of moves that they can make a lot of money happen, okay? Trading Mark Andrews, extending Derrick Henry, extending Lamar Jackson, cutting Justin Tucker. A lot of those things can get you a lot of money, and you can make this happen. Thanks so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join us for daily Ravens videos. This is the best place to be. It is the middle, the end of February, and we're still giving you a video every single day. So if you love this team, if you love this city, if you love this channel, hit that sub button. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. First segment done, gone, out of the way. And appreciate all you guys for still hanging out with us, still talking to us. We got our mock draft coming up next. Perfect. Yeah, that is perfect. We got the mock draft coming up next. Y'all let me know. And let's go ahead and Tex, can you put that way in for hashtag Ravens? I'm also going to turn on this fan because it's getting a little hot. Okay. Moggs said just a fifth. Did I hear that right? If so, easy A. You're right, Moggs. You did hear it right. Just a fifth. Kimberly said she's excited about the NFL draft. I am too, Kimberly. I'm really excited. Alrighty. If you want to get on the mailbag, it's coming up not next segment, but the segment after it. If you want to get on the mailbag, use hashtag Ravens, okay? Hashtag Ravens, ask your question. Has to be all in the same comment. Ty Man the Buckeye says, what up, Joey? What's going on, Ty Man? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having fun, enjoying all the NFL Combine. We're getting you content. We're getting you guys from Chat Sports. We got a ton of guys over there at the Combine, absolutely crushing it. Thankful for them because we get to put out a ton of stuff out on social media. And speaking of social media, Tex, do you mind putting my Twitter into? It should be at the top of the doc. If you can just put the Twitter in the live chat. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter already, go ahead. Tex is about to put it in there. Just go ahead and click on that link. Give me a follow. Tweet about the Ravens every single day, especially during this time of offseason, NFL draft, all of those things. This is the time to get me locked in. I've got some great stuff from the Combine this week. Go ahead, hit that link. Give me a follow. I'll follow you back, okay? I'll follow you back. That is the sales pitch today. Okay. Keep getting those questions in. Also, keep making sure to hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. Appreciate all of you guys. And I'm ready to go on to the draft, Tex, if you are. Sweet. Any questions you got, make sure to get them in the chat. I'm answering everything, not this segment, but the next one, because coming up right now, we've got Joey's Mock Draft 2.0. Got a lot of really great, a lot of really fun picks in this one. Think you guys are going to like it. Tex is ready. I'm ready. Let's get it going. My mock draft coming at you right now. It is mock draft season. Other people like to call it the best time of the year, and I tend to agree because I have a ton of fun doing those for you guys. On today's episode, we're going to go into my 7-round mock draft, 11 picks all coming at you. But before that, let's go back to my mock draft 1.0, give you a little bit of rundown of who I had the Baltimore Ravens selecting. Jaire Barron with the first overall pick. Trey Harris in the 3rd round. Love Tyler Batty with that 4th round selection. Ty Felton late. Fadil Diggs. A lot of really great picks. I think O'Donnell Fortune is going to be really, really great. Also in the round 7 pick, had Johnny Walker, edge rusher Adam Mizzou. That's the thing about these picks. Baltimore's got 11 of them, and you know what? It's a lot of draft picks, okay? I don't think they'll have 11 by the time the draft comes. I think they're going to trade 1 or maybe 2 away. We'll see. And the rule for these mock drafts is I can't pick the same person twice, so everybody I just picked is off the board. Can't pick him again, okay? And we're about to get going into it. But before we do, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think we can hit 250 likes on today's video? Because last mock draft hit 171. Okay, we're going to get better every single day. That's just how we do things on this channel. Can this one hit 250? If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up button. It's free to do. It's an easy way to help out me, help out this channel, and help get this video out to other Ravens fans across the country. So if you haven't already, easy, hit that thumbs up button. All right, I'm going to preface this video with I'm assuming a Ronnie Stanley deal is done because Eric DeCosta mentioned in his press conference on Tuesday that he's optimistic that a deal will be done. Okay, so if Ronnie Stanley's done, I don't think they go offensive tackle in the first round. Instead, I've got them going wide receiver with Matthew Golden, number 27th overall pick. Tex just threw up the hook'em horns. I'm throwing up right back at him. And Matthew Golden, he's the definition of a burner. And he's a guy that I just could not pass on at that number 27 spot. Okay, I think there's a chance he goes higher. I also think there's a chance he might go a little bit lower, but I think he's the perfect receiver for Lamar Jackson and this offense. Okay, you look what he was able to do this past year with Texas, his only year with the Longhorns, spent 2 years prior to that at the University of Houston, almost eclipsed 1,000 yards, played in all 16 games, 9 touchdowns, 17 yards a catch, only 4 drops, and he had some good years at Houston, battled in and out of injuries, right? Only 20 games played in the 2 combined seasons in 2022 and 2023. I love his skill set. I love his natural abilities. I love the fact that he's still really young as well, okay? And other than those 3 things I just mentioned, I believe that he is one of the more clutch receivers in this draft, okay? Because against Georgia and against Arizona State, okay? SEC championship and the game to, what was the Arizona State game? Quarterfinals? Quarterfinal game against Arizona State, the closest game that Texas played in the playoff, and the SEC championship. He had 15 receptions, 311 yards combined, okay? He's got a massive catch radius for a guy who's only 6 foot and unreal speed, okay? He is running I don't know if he's going to run the 40 at the combine or not, but the last time he did run the 40 is a 4.38, okay? This dude's a burner. And don't worry, I still love Zay Flowers. I do, okay? I really, really do love Zay Flowers. I just think that Matthew Golden could come in here and just fill out this offense, fill out this wide receiver room in a way that almost nobody else can, okay? He's there at 27. I have a hard time passing on him. Give him to me right there, first round selection. Grade that first round selection for me, okay? Grade the pick of Matthew Golden. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section down below. I know how I feel about it. Want to know how you guys feel as well. Next up, we got Azareye'h Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State University. The Seminoles, round 2, number 59 overall pick. He was really the only bright side for that Seminoles team this past season. And the reason I'm taking him at number 2, I guess in round 2, is I'm not so sure that Baltimore trades for Jaire Alexander, okay? I think that Eric DeCosta in his press conference literally said out loud, you know what, we're going to be like the Ravens kind of always have been, okay? I think they're going to prioritize their guys. I don't know how they feel about going out and making a splash move, getting a guy like Jaire Alexander who's struggled with some injuries, okay? And so because of that, I still think you got to go cornerback in the first 2 rounds of this draft. And if you do get Azareye'h Thomas, you're getting an absolute dog. Let me tell you, 52 tackles this past year, 2 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and an interception as well. He's got great instincts. He's incredibly fast as well. He's got really long arms. He's just a long individual in general, okay? And I love the fact that from a tackling perspective, he has improved every single year of college. What was 14 tackles quickly turned to 29 tackles, which quickly turned to 52 after that, okay? And he's got a lot of really great things about him. Like I said, the arm length. He's great in man coverage, which I think is what this team needs, especially with the probable departure of a guy like Brandon Stevens. The thing about him, some cons, Not great with the short area quickness. He has limited reps. And my grade on him is a late round 1, early round 2. So if you can get him at number 59, I think that's a great pickup right there. And that's my round 2 selection. Let's go to round 3. I got Lathan Ransom, safety out of Ohio State University. And as much as it pains me because they knocked off my Tennessee Volunteers in the college football playoff, this position needs some depth, okay? And I know that a lot of us are confident in Bo Braid, okay? Confident possibly in Sanusi Kane, the deeper members of that safety room. But there's a reason you didn't see him this past year when that safety room was taking a toll with Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson, okay? Those guys still didn't get playing time. They might not have developed as well as his team wanted them to in their first season. But a guy like Lathan Ransom, I believe, can come in here and be a great depth piece in year 1. You look at the stats in 2024, 76 tackles. This dude's just a tackling machine. 3 pass breakups, a pick, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery. One of those picks, that pick he took for 6, 9 tackles for loss as well. And I think he's a great pro comp to Jalen Petrie, okay? And if you know anything about Jalen Petrie, he's been absolutely phenomenal in Houston. One of the reasons that their secondary has been one of the most dominant in football, especially in these past 2 years, okay? So Lathan Ransom, some might think it's a reach. I think he's going to test very well at the combine. Pick number 3 of the draft goes to Lathan Ransom. Let's go to pick number 4. Edge rusher out of LSU, Savion Jones. Round 4, number 128 selection. And he had a pretty decent year at LSU, okay? The good thing about him is he's still really young. He's only 21 years old. He's massive, 6'6", 280 pounds. Did get 40 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 32 quarterback hurries, which is a great thing to see. But the thing about it is you still need an edge rusher to come in and be that dominating factor. I don't think Savion Jones can come in and do that year 1. Okay, I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be great, especially in the run-stopping capabilities. And because of that, I think Baltimore goes edge rusher in free agency. Okay, I don't know if they quite have the coin to get a guy like Josh Sweat. I think Khalil Mack at a reduced price might be a little bit more of an opportunity, a little bit more of an option. But I think if they do get an edge rusher in free agency, then I think they can go for a guy like Savion Jones in the 4th round. I think he'd be a really great pick. Weigh in for me. Where does Baltimore add an edge? Is it in free agency? Is it in the draft? If you think it's free agency, go ahead, give me an F in the comment section down below. And if you think it's the draft, go ahead, give me a D. Coming up, we got 7 more selections. You heard me right. We've already gone through 4 picks. We got 7 more. But before we do that, got to talk about the sponsor of today's video. As our great friends over at Factor, it is the best place to get the best and most delicious and also easiest meals you can find. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. So you can feel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto meals. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. And what I love about these Factor meals is that they're so quick. Okay, we work some late hours here at Chat Sports. There's a lot of times I get home, I don't want to spend 30 minutes cooking a meal that doesn't even really taste that well because I'm not that great of a cook, okay? I'd much rather pull this thing out of the fridge, 2 minutes, you're eating, and it is very tasty. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. So I go back-to-back edge rushers in round 4 because next I'm taking Antwaun Powell-Ryland. That's a mouthful if I've ever heard one. Edge rusher out of Virginia Tech, just 5 picks later after Savion Jones. And he was a stud this past year at Virginia Tech. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 43 tackles on the season, 16 sacks, 48 pressures, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, okay? And he's had back-to-back really, really great years with the Hokies, okay? He originally transferred in from Florida after the 2022 seasons. And if you look at the last 2 years, 34 combined tackles for loss, okay? 25.5 combined sacks. He's been absolutely dominant, and I do believe that getting him at round 4 might be the steal of the draft, okay? I think he's going to end up being a better pass rusher than Savion Jones is. Okay, Savion Jones is a little bit more of the whole package because he's such a great run stuffer. He's 6'6", 280 pounds. He's just massive. I think he's going to play for a very long time. But I think Antwaun Powell-Ryland's ceiling is a little bit higher. Okay, I think he's a little bit of a sleeper. So because of that, I need you to do something for me. Name a sleeper in the 2025 NFL Draft. Tell me in the comment section down below. It's a guy that you think should be maybe taken earlier in the first round that falls late in the first, or a guy you think will be there in the 6th that shouldn't be, okay? Let me know in the comment section down below. Alrighty, these ones are going to go a little bit faster. Next in round 5, Danny Stutzman, linebacker with the Oklahoma Sooners. And Danny Stutzman, just a classic linebacker, right? Not that great in coverage, hard nose, hard hitting, super tough kid, tackling machine, 109 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, 13 pressures. And the thing is I love Stutzman enough to take the gamble. But I also worry about him in coverage, okay? I don't think he's going to, I don't know if I'd put him and Roquan Smith both in at the same time on passing downs. I think that just kind of sounds like a disaster, okay? He's not that great. Neither is Roquan Smith when it comes to coverage. However, I think he's an absolute beast. I think he's worth the risk. Let's go to round 6, shall we? We got a few of these picks, 3 to be exact, maybe actually 4 6th-round picks. Number 184, give me Tim Smith, defensive tackle out of the University of Alabama. And I think he's going to be a solid interior depth piece. I don't think he's a guy that you can come in and expect year 1 to have a year like a guy like Jalen Carter, right? He's not going to be breaking records. He's not going to be taking over games. But I think he's going to be a guy late in the 3rd, early in the 4th, that when our interior depth piece that are starters get a little tired, Tim Smith can come in there, give those guys a little bit rest. I think he's going to be a great player. Okay, let's go to pick number 204. Still in round 6. Give me Jalen Smith, cornerback out of USC. And, man, he had a pretty phenomenal year. Okay, again, was one of the brighter sides to the Trojans. He had an 82.5 coverage grade. He had an 82.7 man coverage grade. His run defense was an 80.1. Okay, he's a guy who checks off a lot of boxes, and I believe he has great worth for the 6th round. I would not be surprised with his tape mixed with just his abilities if he's a guy that tests really well at the combine and flies up boards. Okay, maybe gets taken in the 4th or the 5th, but if he's there in the 6th, I'm taking him eyes closed, no questions about it. Don't jinx it for me. Do you want the Ravens to kill the draft like they did in 2022? If you do, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Like today's video if you want them to have the best draft in the entire National Football League. Sticking with round 6, we got a ton of these, ladies and gentlemen. Just 6 picks later. Get me Efton Chisholm III, wide receiver out of Eastern Washington. You might be asking who. Guys, this guy is a stud. 120 catches, 1,300 yards, 10.9 yards per catch, 13 touchdowns with Eastern Washington. And the question with a guy like him, who has the stat profile that he does, and let's be honest, who also looks the way that he does as well, you kind of ask yourself, could this be the new Cooper Kupp? Did the Baltimore Ravens just find their Cooper Kupp in the 6th round of this draft? I think they might have. Okay, he's a really good route runner. He has solid hands. He's not going to burn you over the top. I think he's just a guy that could be a really great check down receiver that could turn small receptions into big ones. Sticking with round 6, 4th, 6th round pick in a row. This is Dean Clark, safety out of Fresno State with the 213th overall selection. He had over 140 tackles, 8 pass deflections, 4 picks in the last 2 seasons. Okay, he's a guy that's just kind of a little bit of a tackling machine, and I think he could be really, really an asset as more of a depth piece right? I don't think he's going to come in and be a starter. I think he's a guy that's going to play behind Kyle Hamilton, play behind Ardarius Washington. He's going to be great in run support. Let's go to round 7, shall we? Kyron Lacey, wide receiver out of Louisiana State University, okay? And I know that Lacey's going through some legal trouble right now, and that's the reason he's falling to 7 in a lot of these mock drafts and a lot of people's boards. But if you're sitting there at 7, and you've already had 10 picks in this draft, you had 4 6-round picks, I would be so okay with them taking a flyer on Lacey and just saying, you know what, this is a guy who a couple months ago before this came out was graded as a round 3, possibly a round 2 selection. Let's just take a chance on him, okay? I'd do it, honestly, in a heartbeat, okay? Comment below, rate the second mock draft. Rate mock draft 2.0 for me. Scale it 1 to 10. Let me know your answer in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Really do appreciate every single one of you who watch, and then not only just watch it, but watch all the way to the end. You guys are the real ones of today's video, of today's channel. Thanks so much. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. 2 segments down, 1 segment to go. A little bit of a lighter crowd today. I have to assume it's because, you know, we usually Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday evenings. We had to switch it up. We had to go Thursday. Don't worry, we'll be back on Tuesdays this next week. We'll be back. But yeah, great crowd. Appreciate you guys who are here. Ton of questions from Ravens King. And I know we got that early question from. No, it was just it was right under the super chat from Yeecaw. Okay, we need some more questions. Matthew, if you're still in here, that question was great. Do you think Mark could be shipped out on draft day? If so, for what? Ask it again, but use hashtag Ravens, okay? We got Adam78, we got Moggs, we got all the real ones in here, okay? Y'all go ahead and ask some questions down below if you want a chance to get on the show to ask me anything you want. Do it right now. Do it right now in the comment section. Attendance squad saying, what are your thoughts on Lamar's offseason hairstyle? So I think that was just like a transition, right? I don't think that's the new hairstyle. If so, I kind of rock with it, man. Just focus, like none of the hair stuff. Just let it be and focus on football. I love it, man. I love it. Tex, I'm assuming we're sitting at 1, 2. Okay. Cool. Those 4, and then we got some from Ravens King as well. Oh, wait, yeah, you got those. Okay, we need some more questions. Yep, 2 or 3 more. Use hashtag Ravens, okay? Boom, Moggs. There we go. Ooh, spicy, Moggs. That's a good one, my friend. That one's going in. Adam78 and Attendant Squad, you guys are 2 of the real ones. Need you guys to ask me a question in the comments. Use hashtag Ravens, and we'll get your questions on the show. Matthew. I like that one, Matthew. I like it. Okay, Adam78, it's your turn, my friend. Adam78 and Attendant Squad, I'm calling on you too. If y'all are still here, still hanging out with us. We got it, Matthew. We got it, my friend. Boom. Top 3 players you would like to cut for the offseason. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a real good one. And Tex, we're rolling through them. Make sure to go to the individual ones first, and then we can hit the repeats for Ravens King. Because he asked multiple. We can throw his go back to his at the end. If we need to. Yeah, but I want to make sure those guys get theirs in. Ravens King, I appreciate the multiple questions. We're going to just make sure everybody gets at least one of theirs in before. Yeah, well, Ravens King's first one can be in, but just his second, third. Yeah, his second, third, fourth. Throw those at the end when we have everybody's first in. Boom. Good question, Kimberly. All right, and this one, wanted to go like 10. So when I get around, yeah. Yep. Boom, Raymaker. Boom, boom, boom. Good stuff. All righty. I'm ready to roll. I think Texer's about to be ready to roll as well. The other one. Yeah. Yeah, start with that one. Yeah, perfect. Keep asking, keep asking. Once we get started, y'all don't have to stop. Y'all can keep asking them. They can keep getting on the mailbag. Matthew Kim, do you think we should re-sign Chris Bourne? How comfortable would you be with our LB group with him here? I don't know if should is the word I would use. I think might is the word I'd probably use. I don't know if I'd be too comfortable. That's perfect. That's perfect. All righty. We got the mailbag coming for you guys. Tex, you ready? All right, let's get into it right now. Welcome into my favorite show every single week. It is our mailbag, and today you get your questions answered right here on the show. It's my favorite one every single week. You guys ask me questions, I give you answers, and if you have a question for me, make sure to join us on Tuesday evenings, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We go live, do these live mailbag segments, so you can get your questions right then. I'm starting a new sub battle because it's a new month of March. Happy March, everybody. And we're going to take on the Bills breakdown, okay? It is the team that knocked us out of the playoffs, the teams that dashed the Super Bowl hopes. And if you want to bury them and every member of Bills Mafia, then we will absolutely destroy them in this March sub battle. We're starting new, starting fresh, 0 subs each. Let's run up the score and do it early. Hit that sub button. We're going to start with Yee-Kaw, my man who just got home from Tokyo. Glad you're back. Saying hashtag Ravens. I read an article on the Ravens app suggesting to draft James Pierce Jr. I know you're a Vols fan. Would he fit the scheme? Would he be available once Baltimore is on the clock? I am a Vols fan. Thank you for knowing that. He would fit the scheme. I think he would fit this scheme perfectly. Okay, I think he's like a Dafe Owe, just a lot faster and a lot more athletic, okay? I love Dafe Owe. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year. He had a great year last year. I think James Pierce has an incredibly high ceiling. Now, would he be available once Baltimore's on the clock? That's kind of still up in the air. Okay, some character issues, rumors came out pretty recently, and apparently that's been making him fall down draft boards. I know Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock did not have him going in that first round, okay? So if he's available and he's there in that first round, guys, I would pick him. I think he's still got a ton to do in this league, okay? Great question, though, you call. Appreciate it. Next up, from a Ray Lewis fan, said, should the Ravens trade for Tyreek Hill? The cheetah. Great question, my friend. I don't know. The Tyreek Hill situation has been so interesting since the offseason. He said those comments at the end of the season. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, he wants out of Miami. And then he kind of backtracked on those comments. And now he's saying, I'm sticking in Miami. I love being here. I don't think they need to. I think of positions worthy of a trade, I think wide receiver is like third on the list behind edge rusher and corner. Okay, so I think it'd be fun. You'd have to pay him a lot of money. Ravens don't have a lot of money. It's not super realistic. But I think adding the cheetah to this offense would be like the greatest show on turf. It would be unreal. Okay, great question, though. Put your GM hat on, okay? Pretend you're Eric DeCosta. You're bald. Put the hat on. Should the Ravens trade for Tyreek Hill? Give me a yes. Give me a no in the comment section down below. Love to hear you guys' answer. We got Ravens King. Next question, hashtag Ravens. I think we should address cornerback in free agency and address pass rush in the first round of the NFL draft. I think that's what we should do. Cornerback in free agency, I love that play as well. Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed, two, I think, amazing options. Asante Samuel Jr. as well. With Reed and Ward, they wouldn't be that expensive. 3 years, $14 million. I know that's a little bit, but guys, it's such a position of need for this team. Now, when talking about the draft, the thing that's tricky about that is there's so many great pass rushers. I think you could find a good one in 2 or 3. And if you don't get a cornerback in free agency, then getting one in the first round might serve you a little bit better because it's a little top heavy. You could maybe get a really good one in the second round, like Azareye'h Thomas, maybe Benjamin Morrison. Outside of the second round, I don't want them to go cornerback, at least if they're planning on him being a starter in year 1. Next up, we got Matthew Kim. Do you think Mark could be shipped out on draft day? If so, for what? I don't know about on draft day. It would be really interesting if he was. It'd be a lot some great content, some great juicy little rumors and things, or not, I guess not rumors, it's some juicy news. I don't know about on draft day. I think before that, if they're going to ship him out, for what? To answer that, I would say a 4th round pick. Probably 4th round pick, maybe a 3rd for Mark Andrews. That seems a little bit high. I think some teams to keep an eye out: Los Angeles, Denver. I think those 2 teams could make that happen. Speaking of making it happen, you know who makes it happen every single day? It's our great sponsor over at Factor. They've got amazing meals, so easy to get ready. And are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? That's pretty much the basic question. And if so, Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared for any active or busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor keto meals, with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. And that's the thing I love so much about Factor, right? We all want to eat better, but the hard thing about eating well is you've got to go out and get the food, find the meals, and then make them yourself. If you want to prioritize eating well, do it with Factor because they will ship it for you. And if you use our code, Factor Podcast, you can get 50% off. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FactorPodcast to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FactorPodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. The link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Next up, we got Attendance Squad saying, can you name the top 3 players you would like to cut for the offseason? Justin Tucker, he's a post-June 1st cut. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Also would save you around $4 million. I think Arthur Millette might be a good cut option. That'd save you around $2 million. And David Ajabo. That would save you around $2 million as well. 4 sacks in the last 3 seasons. Just can't seem to get healthy. You could save a little cheddar there. Those are my 3. I think number 1, though, is number 1 is Justin Tucker. Next up from Rainmaker, sick profile pick, said, #Ravens, can the Ravens make a trade for a legitimate pass rusher by trade or in the draft? They can trade for a legitimate pass rusher like a Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. It would cost a ton, 2 first-round picks, and you'd probably have to sign them to a contract extension, which I don't know if that's very realistic for Baltimore with all the money they already have elsewhere to guys like Lamar Jackson and others across the payroll. I'm trying to think of other legitimate pass rushers that would be available by trade that would be a little bit cheaper than a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. They could get a guy in free agency, Josh Sweat. I love his game. Love what he did in the Super Bowl. And then as long as the draft, as far as that, I would love to, if Mike Green is still available in the 20s, you have 4 6-round picks, 2 4th-rounders. I'd trade a 4th and a 6th to move up to 20 to get Mike Green. That's what I would do. Next up, we got Kimberly Harmon, second to last question here, saying, #Ravens, do you think we get a kicker in the draft if Justin Tucker gets cut? I think maybe, Kimberly. Great question. Eric DaCosta mentioned in his presser that, they're evaluating kickers. They're looking at kickers, and I think that they should. Not only is Justin Tucker have his whole everything going off on this offseason. Okay, I don't want to get too into the weeds in that. That's for another day. But he also was really bad this past year. I know he turned a corner a little bit after the bye week, but he was the worst kicker through the first 12 weeks of the season. He lost you multiple games. I would love if they went kicker in the draft. I think that would, I wouldn't mind it one bit. Not one bit at all. Last question of the day coming from Ravens fan for life. I love the old school Ravens logo. Do you think the Ravens will trade for Deebo Samuel? Maybe. That's my answer. I know it's not a lot. I'll go into it. I think Deebo's a little bit washed. He didn't separate very well. It was obvious he can't really be a wide receiver one. That's the good thing about Baltimore is you're not really asking him to be a wide receiver one. He wouldn't be. He'd be like a wide receiver 2 or 3, kind of like a gadget type guy. I think he'd be great in this offense. I think Todd Monken could use him really, really well. Just don't know if he's worth the money. I think he might end up being cut. If he's cut, I'd love to sign him. Don't know if I would love to trade for him. Don't know if that's something that Baltimore will do, even though Adam Schefter said they would. Be Eric DaCosta for me. What would you do with Deebo Samuel? Would you trade for him? Would you pass on him? Let me know in the comment section down below by typing T for trade, typing P for pass. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you guys want to be on that mailbag next time, you can. All you got to do is show up to our weekly live shows. This past weekend was Thursday. Things got moved around. They're every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. They're an absolute blast. They go about an hour. You guys get your questions. I answer them. You're on screen. It's the best part. Everybody wins. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that sub button. Turn on notifications. Do all the things. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great day. Boom. Deshaun, I'm going to answer yours. Saying hashtag Ravens. Will the Ravens trade Mark Andrews to Seattle for DK to acquire DK Metcalf? That could be interesting. Like Mark Andrews in a second for DK? I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't know if Seattle will. Is Teacher out there? Hey, Teach. I'll see. We got our Seahawks host here. Maybe not. He might not be here. Is he out there? Texas looking for him. He's not. All righty. I'll ask him later. We'll talk about it next time. All righty. Do you think the Ravens can get Josh Palmer to the squad? I would love if the Ravens got Josh Palmer. Not just because he's a Tennessee Volunteer, but I think he's a perfect wide receiver 3. This depth chart goes wide receiver 1, Zay Flowers. Wide receiver 2, Rashad Bateman. And a fantastic 1-2, okay? I'm so confident in them. But then the next is like wide receiver 5. We need a wide receiver 3. Josh Palmer could get that. I don't think he'd be that expensive. Text finding it for me right there. Look, you go Nelson Aguilar, Steve Sims Jr., Deontay Hardy, Tylan Wallace. None of those guys are wide receiver 3s. You know who is? Josh Palmer is, okay? I would love it. Don't think he'd be very expensive if you get him in free agency. It's a great question. All righty. That'll be it. Texter, thanks for your help today, my friend. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys that are hanging out with us in the live chat, got on the show. We'll be live again this next week, 4 days from now, 5 days from now, Tuesday evening, back to normal time. Make sure to hang out with us then. We'll have videos on the channel all weekend long. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on them, comment, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. Y'all know the drill. And y'all have a great night. For Producer Tex, I'm Joey Petersen. God bless.